Alright folks, so today we are going to react to Western reporters trying to shame India, trying to defame India and trying to spread misinformation or bad information about India. So we are going to react to them and hopefully we are going to destroy them and their rhetoric against India. So let's begin.
Do you feel like we've arrived now?
We have. I think we have. I see the.
Okay, this is Hasan Minhaj. He's a very famous Indian American. He's a very famous comedian as well. And basically he's asking people that whether India or Indians have arrived on the global stage. And then the guy is interrupting him. So let's see what happens.
I see the change.
You
coming
are
in.
anti-Indian, man.
Oh, come on.
You are not respecting our Indian, Hassan.
Okay.
Modi, go Modi. I know you are from Sacramento.
I am.
I'm ashamed to say that.
Oh,
you
he
are
even
from
gave him
Sacramento.
We're brothers. We're
You
brothers.
should respect Modi.
Okay.
You should respect
I-
Modi.
I am here to-
India and Hindus. Yeah, I just want to take a picture. man.
Okay.
1, 2. Even though we have difference of opinion, he's a good guy.
What a great point to make at the end. He said that even if you have all the differences in the world, even if you are on the opposite sides of the political spectrum, doesn't matter. Even if you don't agree with each other at all, you should come together, you should talk. You might just learn something, you might just understand what the other person is trying to think or their point of view. So it's always better, even if you disagree, get together, talk and hash it out.
Likewise, I'm proud to have been speaking out for the rights of minorities in India since I first took office. As you might know, I introduced a bipartisan resolution calling on the Indian government to uphold basic human rights in Jammu and Kashmir. It asked the government to lift its communications blackout, end detention without charges, and respect religious freedom. I also spoke out against Prime Minister Modi's citizenship law that excludes Muslim migrants from a new pathway to citizenship, an unprecedented break from India's secular constitution.
What?
So basically she's talking about the Citizenship Amendment Act. And it was not to exclude Muslims, first of all, let me be very honest. And let me make a very broader point here first, that we have the most Muslim population in the world. To even assume that these people, all these 17% or 18% Muslims you have in the country, they don't have rights, what the hell are you talking about? We are the most diverse country on the planet, so to speak. Don't poke your nose where it does not belong, and at least if you want to, at least be honest and truthful about it. This is absolute nonsense. She is talking about the Citizenship Amendment Act, and it was not done to exclude Muslims. It was done to help the minorities, helps the minorities who are getting persecuted by the surrounding countries of us, and then it gives them a pathway to make sure that they can come here, they can come to India and they can take refuge and then they can become citizen. Obviously the people who are going to come are not going to be Muslim because the countries around us are predominantly Muslim. So obviously a majority cannot get persecuted. That's why the minorities who were getting persecuted from these regions, it was there to help them so they can become Indian citizens, they can feel safe. That's what it was for. It was not to exclude Muslims, because how can you exclude them if they're already a majority there? How can they get persecuted if they're already a majority in the surrounding countries? And this is just absolute nonsense. I think if you want to poke your nose, at least be honest and be educated on it at least. Insane.
India used to be the moderate country until Modi took over, and he's a nationalist.
He's a nationalist, sure. You're putting your country's interests first. That's what basically nationalism is. So that's one thing. Secondly, we are still a moderate country. We are one of the most diverse countries on this planet. So he's already wrong here, but let's see what he says next.
When he was a regional leader, he looked the other way as there was vigilante violence against minority Muslims in his region of India, and he didn't go to prosecute, and so he's a Hindu extremist.
What? How does he come from that to being a Hindu extremist? First of all, let's talk about what he said. He was mentioning the 2002 communal riots in Gujarat, the state of Gujarat, when the Prime Minister Modi of now was the Chief Minister of Gujarat back then, and there was a massive violence between the Hindus and Muslims in Gujarat. Sure, he has mentioned that and he has said that he looked the other way and everything. Okay, fine. But then he has specifically failed to mention the Godhra train burning. Why he hasn't mentioned that? there were 60 Hindus who were burned alive on the train, and that was the pretext for all the communal violence that took place afterwards. But he has specifically left that out, and that's what they do. That's what Americans or the American media or the Western media, in a sense, that's what they do. What they do is that they find a minority in every country, and then they're like, okay, now this is the minority in this country, let's attack the government and use that minority to attack the government. That's what they do. That's their card every single time, and this is what he's saying basically. And then so he has done that, and that was, by the way, in 2002. This is 2024. I think this video was back in, I think, 2016, I believe, if I'm not wrong. So still then he's using something that happened a long time ago, and he has specifically failed to mention some things, and then he's using that to say that Modi is a Hindu extremist. He's not. We are the most diverse country on this planet, as I said again and again and again, and this is just plain blatant lie. Let's carry on.
I would like to congratulate India on landing on the dark side of the moon. I would also like to now invite India to return the £2.3 billion foreign aid money that we sent them between 2016 and 2021.
No, fact check, no, that is a lie. They haven't sent us 2.3 billion USD. They haven't. You can check on Google, you can search Britain India aid. It's not happened. They tried to send to us, but we have rejected it. We have been rejecting that aid because, first of all, $2.3 billion or pounds, whatever that is, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. If you take any urban city, and even in the urban city you take any specific area, that the GDP of that area would be much bigger than 2.3 billion US dollars or pounds, whatever the hell that is. So first of all, this is a lie. Second of all, even if that was the case, that money is nothing.
We're also set to give them £57 million next year, but I think the British taxpayer should keep hold of that, don't you? We should not be giving money to countries with a space programme. As a rule, if you can afford to fire a rocket at the dark side of the moon, you shouldn't be coming to us with your hand out.
Hey, first of all, we are not coming with our hands out. Second of all, if you want to talk about aid, let's talk about what you have stolen from us. If you look at the modern studies, they have estimated that Britain or the British Raj has stolen over $40 trillion of worth today's money.
Oh boy.
They have stolen that much amount, and he's talking about, oh, this is 2-3 billion, 4 billion, whatever. That is nothing compared to $40 trillion. Even if they want to give us back that money, they won't be able to, because even their economy is not that big enough to give. First of all, they would go bankrupt. Their country would be stopped. Basically, they would take a pause if they want to do that, and it's not going to happen. So if you want to be like that, then this is what you're going to get. If you want to talk about 2.3 billion, let's talk about 40 trillion first, and then we can get back to it. Yeah? Okay.
The Indian diaspora is killing us. Okay, they are. Not literally, but and it maybe in a good way, but killing us in terms of competition. Okay, people are traveling from India to all different countries all throughout the world, and they are more successful than the general population.
Of course we are, because our values about family orientation, the being traditional in that sense, these values are helping Indian people whoever moves abroad to work or for other stuff, as well as education as well. They do well because we are willing to work hard, which the local population is not able to do that. So that's why we are cutting them off. We are getting the jobs. We are making more money than them. If you look at the US stats, by the way, after the Jewish people, Indian people are the most successful people in the US. I'm not even talking about Indian citizens or Indian Americans who have become citizens of the country. I'm just talking about the Indian people who have come there just for work. They are doing exceptionally well, and that's what she's talking about. And I don't think this is an insult or anything like that, honestly. She's just praising us that we are so hardworking that everywhere we go, we are successful. So I think that is credit towards them, I guess. Yeah, good point.
When the British pulled out of India, they left behind an entire civilization.
First of all, this is Tucker Carlson. He's one of the most famous American commentators or the political commentators out there. He's basically Arnav Goswami of USA, if you think like that. And he's saying that when British left India, they left a civilization, fruitful civilization. No, they did not. They left us in ruins, as I said before. They took everything they could. That's what they did. They ran away, but they made sure that we stay poor, in sense that they divided us, by the way. They divided us to make sure that we are always in fighting and all of that stuff. So they have done all of that, and then he's saying that they have left us a healthy civilization. They have not. Let's see what he says next.
And yet, after 75 years of independence, has that country produced a single building as beautiful as the Bombay train station that the British colonialists built? No, sadly, it has not.
Is that actual point he's trying to make? Oh, we haven't made a building as beautiful as the British railway station basically in Bombay. First of all, we have. Okay, we have. This is the ignorance part I talk about when it comes to Americans. Just look at our new Parliament building. That is absolutely fantastic. The great architecture there. Or if you look at the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel statue or stuff. I know it's a statue, but it's an incredible building to build that, and it's bigger than the Statue of Liberty. So take that. Yeah. So this is the ignorant part I talk about when it comes to American reporters, and this is not in level with the American crowd as well, because I have talked to them. I've talked to a lot of them on ground, and they don't think like that. But the elites in the society, the reporters, those people still think that we are very poor and we are very backward and everything. It's not the case, and he's just lying here.
No, sadly, it has not. Not one.
Yeah, fuck off.
And I think the colonies all owe Britain for the wonderful things Britain did to them, bringing indoor plumbing and railroads and educational institutions, and ending hideous practices like throwing the widow on the funeral pyre, getting the resources out, creating wealthy countries out of just third world hellholes. Oh, no. The reparations should be going back to Britain.
What? First of all, let me address this point by point. First, it says that they have built infrastructure, they have built railway roads and all the plumbing and everything. Sure, they did that, but why did they do that? They only did that so they can loot. They can loot efficiently. You know, all those rail lines in India, why they are that good? Because they wanted to make sure that all the goods they are stealing from here or from India will get sent back to Britain as quickly as possible. That's why they needed great infrastructure. All the things they have done is for their own self needs, not for us. To claim that, first of all, is very, very, very ignorant. And secondly, okay, she's talking about the tradition of sati and everything. So yes, that was a bad part in our culture, when we used to, like, if the husband dies, then the widow, she also get used to send to the fire, and she also used to die and all of that, and they have ended that in a way. Now it's not clear why they have ended it and stuff like that, but it's a good thing that they have ended it, if they have really, because we don't know what happened 200 years back. If you're being honest here, we have heard from people where we don't know for sure, but if they have, credit to them, sure, but that's about it, nothing else. So and she's talking about that even like without them we wouldn't have grown. We were absolutely poor in 1947. We are nowhere near. Now we will become the world's third largest economy, and that is all credit to us, not to British colonizers, not at all. So it's just hypocrisy, and it's just plain blatant ignorance.
I love the fact that India is growing.
Right. Well, they're still under $3 trillion.
Not anymore though. This is an older clip. We already crossed the $3 trillion threshold. So hey, he's already proven right. But let's carry on. This is, by the way, Patrick Bet-David, one of the most pro-Indian people in the American journalism, or not the mainstream media, but the alternative media that has been growing, the YouTube, the Twitter and all of that stuff. He's been very good. He's been very pro-India. Let's see what he says.
It's no problem. They're going to grow so fast. Look how fast. Who was China 30 years ago? Nobody.
True.
Who's China today? Number 2. Who's India today? Don't get it twisted. Look how quickly India is going to come up.
So you're saying that's going to be a good thing for the
Fantastic.
world? If India,
yes.
Fantastic.
Would it be a good thing of the world if if India surpasses China
India
and the
is
US?
not a bad number one. India is not a bad number one.
Because they're a democracy?
India doesn't wake up in the morning saying, you better think like us or else. India doesn't wake up in the morning with Modi saying, take all the negative reviews out. India doesn't do that. That's what China does.
Love it. I just love the optimism. I love that he's being very truthful. Is that yes, we don't go out and censor journalists and everything like that. No, we are a democracy. We are a free democracy, and it's a thriving democracy, and we will become number 1 soon. First, we have to get to number 3, And he's very correct that what was China 20 years back, 30 years back? It was nothing. It was gunk. It was absolute hellhole. And now they have become number 2. And yes, he's right about India being number 1, and we will be a good number 1 if we become number 1. That's the thing. I think we will become number 1, and we'll be a good number 1 because we don't force our values on other people. We just say that, okay, this is us, we'll do our thing, you do your thing. As long as you don't disturb us, we won't disturb you. This is very a libertarian nature of our government as well as our people, which is very unlike the US, by the way, because US likes to poke their nose everywhere, and they would like to project their values everywhere. Say, okay, think like us, we are the moral police of the world, and we'll tell you how to think. You don't get to decide for your own people. No, we'll tell you. And I think that's the major difference. That's why when India will become number 1, we will be the best number 1 the world has ever seen. And I just love this. This is the great way to end this reaction video, because see, you will always find Western reporters who's trying to, throw down India or trying to throw shade on India. It's very easy to do that. But then there are people like this who also say truthful things, who also appreciate what India has done to the world, and I like it. So if you guys like this video, we'll do more of it. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Bye bye.